Welcome back, everybody. Apologize for the technical difficulty. You didn't miss much, maybe besides the first half. Still a minute, though, for WGS to get their final tick. It seems, according to the kill feed, all is said and done. The only thing you might have missed, a bit of some Winston swaps here and there, but Karine will be on the attacking team here with the Reinhardt, and they actually haven't finished it out yet.
Yeah, not just yet. Only 38 seconds remaining as well, and GC Busan Wave building into some of these ultimates. WGS Armament really have to play into their combo in this next fight. It's their last resort. They have 2 ticks, so they just have to clear that point, get a couple of kills, force GC Busan Wave to play on point, and then maybe find a kill onto Ion, who's not close enough yet to that Primal Rage.
This is WGS's last chance to get point A. 17 seconds and less. They'll have the combo. The oh so sweet combo. Graviton self-destruct. They try and break through, though. And you're going to be waiting for GC Busan Wave to respond with their own Graviton self-destruct. Edison pulls the trigger first, and DPI eats Edison's grab. Oh, no! Gargoyle still holds on to his for the moment. Self-destruct from Ritz. The double kill! Gargoyle dies with grab. Are you kidding me? GC Busan Wave about to hold WGS at bay on point A of Hanamura.
And think about this too, you know, they were already up 2-0. They were really doing such a good job on those first 2 maps, and then GC Busan Wave, what a statement here to be made, full holding WGS Armament. And again, we can see the difference where Ritz, Edison, choosing to, you know, who's going to be playing that Zarya. You're going to see Edison playing the more aggressive, you know, and Ion, I think, is a big reason why we're seeing Edison on the Zarya here, because he's playing the Winston. Edison can more easily go for these barrier timings and play that Zarya role as a DPS against Gargoyle, who's instead playing it very reactively and defensively. And look at the knockback on that to set Ritz up as well.
Oh my god, and Gargoyle died with grab crab. Like, this is like, that's such a critical mistake, and obviously getting caught by all the ultimates that GC Busan Wave had on their defense. But we did miss a few minutes, but we are back and going into the next round, where that was, you know, WGS Armament's kind of last chance to get that momentum rolling again. Now GC Busan Wave only have to cap A, and they will take the 3-0.
And we're back with Edison actually on the Zarya here, with Ion on the Reinhardt. So definitely going to be having some high tempo play here on display from GC Busan Wave. WGS Armament having to combat that. I mean, this is going to be a tough one, though, because 4 minutes are going to be on the clock, and GC Busan Wave only have to win 1 single fight. That's all they're going to need, and WGS Armament don't have too many opportunities to actually get back from respawn should GC Busan Wave start getting ahead in any of these engagements.
And you're not seeing any crazy... Okay, apologize for the technical... Our feed died, and having some issues getting the games from Korea. So we will turn to a quick break, and we promise it'll be over quick. Okay. We totally apologize for the technical difficulties. Our feed kind of went kaput. Some rat got into the plugs and pulled it on us. What you need to know is by the time we fixed it, GC Busan Wave capped the point. That's how good they are. So they will take the 3-0 over WGS Armament, but we do have one final map. It will be Rialto, and we'll see if WGS Armament can take a win, or at least a map win there. We'll see you guys in a bit. welcome back everybody to Contenders Korea, the final map between GC Busan Wave and WGS Armament. And Heurix, we talked about, you know, that rivalry last season. GC Busan Wave lost to WGS Armament. And, well, there's revenge. Sweet, sweet revenge in the regular season, maybe where it matters slightly less, but...
Well, at least they're getting it now, and I mean, this is where it could really matter too, because think about, you know, where we were at last year as opposed to where things are headed this year, and how different the Contenders seasons are actually going to play out too, because teams that are really solid right now and getting victories and showing that they can actually adapt to the changing meta that's to come as well in playoffs. If GC Busan Wave can stay on this track and actually, you know, continue progressing and getting better and being able to beat teams like WGS Armament, you're building into the Showdown, which is a huge LAN event that's going to be, you know, a little more international than what we've seen in the past years at the Contenders level. So this is, you know, sweet revenge, of course, for GC Busan Wave getting a 3-0 victory over WGS Armament. Certainly, I think the biggest thing is the fact that they're back, you know, into the group standings in a place where they can feel pretty comfortable and they can start building towards the playoffs. And if they do well enough in the playoffs, of course, afford themselves a slot at the Showdown, which is a huge, huge deal for any team with players that want to get, you know, cited by some of these scouted rather by some of these Owl teams.
Absolutely. And of course, this is GC Busan Wave's first win in this Contenders season. As you do see, Rialto will be our final map, where we'll see if WGS can get one on the board. Of course, now they were 2-1, they'll drop to 2-2, and if they do lose this 4-0, that'll be a big dent in their map differential.
And both of these teams have won on Rialto, so both these teams 1-0 going into this map. And GC Busan Wave definitely seem to have WGS Armament kind of, you know, that structure, everything that they want to do just downloaded. I mean, it seems like GC Busan Wave they know exactly what to do with every single fight. Even when WGS Armament seem to be up in economy, they seem to have the setups that they need to get a fight when somehow, some way, GC Busan Wave always have an answer. And maybe they have an answer here on Rialto, possibly in the form of Free actually coming through and potentially playing the Sombra. And there it is. Well.
Maybe. Does he stick with it? I always gotta wait a few seconds.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Gotta be careful.
He coming out with it. He coming with it. Oh, he doing it. And you speak of these changes from, you know, from season 3 to now. Both these teams kept the majority of their roster. WGS keeping the exact same one. Free is new to GC Busan Wave, and actually both teams losing very important coaches. Mainly, if you think of Andante, if I'm pronouncing that right, from GC Busan Wave actually went to the Vancouver Titans in the Overwatch League, and a lot of people were wondering, without, you know, a big loss to their coaching staff, will they still be able to stay on top with the meta changing and things like that?
Yeah, well, GC Busan Wave, I mean, they're 0-3, but I think they're still in a pretty solid position. They obviously they're in a little bit of a dire position because they have lost those 3 games, but they're definitely a lot better than that scoreline. And you can see exactly the case here against WGS Armament, where they're able to take these rounds free on the Sombra, looking to put some pressure in. DPI, though, coming out with the Hanzo.
Yeah, this is great. And why counter a Sombra with another Sombra when you can counter the fact the other team doesn't have a Diva with a Hanzo who's not going to have to worry about that Matrix and is going to get these free Dragon Strikes?
Yeah, I mean, you can combo out for free every single time. And speaking of free, he's going over to the Diva. He recognizes, hey, we have nothing to prevent the relentless onslaught of arrows that is coming our way. And then we know we have this combo coming, and the only way to deter that is with a defense matrix. So good swap from GC Busan Wave, recognizing what WGS Armament are trying to do here.
And he's going to get closer to that Dragon Strike, and WGS getting closer to point A. GC Busan will be coming around the corner. Ion's the closest one to the Shatter. Could be opening up an opportunity. They're trying to win in this out vanilla style, but Free already got chunked down by the Hanzo arrows of DPI, and that could be a free Dragon Strike if he wants it. Launches down the alley along with the Shatter from Karayan that floors everybody. And what a play from WGS. They will get point A.
And that's good from them to, you know, get that kill very swiftly, because now DPI is going to want to swap anyways. He doesn't want to stick to this Hanzo anymore because Free has already made the swap over to the Diva. So now DPI, he goes over to the Sombra. They can play from the high ground if they get control early, and they can come around this corner very swiftly as well and get that payload there fast.
A little bit tricky to go for a hack when they're on the high ground. Ion's going to be looking for the shatter, playing some ring around the rosy with his counterpart of Karayan. Seeing actually his backline a little bit exposed, he's overextending and completely by himself and goes for his shatter. And now actually Grav got thrown from Ritz and actually completely misses. Gargoyle responds with his own. Thankfully Fielder has the Transcendence, but it doesn't save Daydream. Now with a few down from GC Busan Wave, WGS will advance the card.
We're going to see them...
in a second.
Yeah, I mean, still
Delight,
rounding the corner the way that they want to. And on top of that, they also... they're getting pretty close to an EMP, and DPI should be able to go forward, start poking away at Free on the D.Va, use that D.Va as an ultimate battery, maybe put a little pressure onto Fielder as well, force Daydream to turn around and actually get the boop off to put him off. But either way, the EMP is now up for WGS, and they can play off this now and build to their next grab. Gargoyle can really benefit here.
And DPI needs to nail Daydream, who's going to have the barrier. And these supports have been really good at staying out of line of sight. And drops it. Daydream has the barrier just in time. GC Busan Wave, they'll survive for the moment. Karayan shatters into a shield, but Ion does eventually fall. WGS advance forward, thankfully only with 2 ultimates. And actually, Mondu had used the barrier early. They will get point B.
I don't think there's a way to contest this yet again from GC Busan Wave, but we talked about, you know, how Gargoyle was going to benefit from that EMP. Well, he definitely did, and realistically WGS Armament could have grabbed there, but it was smart of them to not do that. Now they can utilize it into this next fight and actually kind of trade back and forth. DPI can just spam damage into that grab and get his own EMP up now.
A very early grab and an early engagement. Karayan, nice pin. And now shatters on top of that. Gets everyone down from GC Busan. Gotta watch that Free self-destruct. He got booped into the air. Karayan does survive. It's not over yet. GC Busan Wave, they still want to win this. They use the Lights rally, sustain with a little bit more armor. They do ward off WGS Armament.
Still though, WGS Armament kind of coming out ahead here, and it's a pretty close respawn. They don't have too far to walk. They lose a couple of bodies, but when they actually do go for this next engagement, it's going to be Daydream who has to kind of keep watch a little bit, has to be behind line of sight, doesn't want to get caught by the EMP, and certainly doesn't want to get caught by the Graviton that will follow that EMP as well.
Yeah, I guess your plan A could be Gargoyle, maybe DPI, because he's in position. Actually, the Grav is thrown first from Gargoyle, only catches Free. EMP from DPI as plan B. Catches everyone for GC Busan Wave, but Daydream had used the barrier, but it's still not enough. GC Busan Wave just can't survive, and WGS can actually, WGS can actually get back on the cart, get this attack rolling.
And Daydream somehow made it out, but there's going to be DPI trying to find the kill. Luckily, though, the armor pack is there from Delight. So Daydream not going to die out, going to make it away. And this buys time, of course, for Karayan to get back after falling into the deep abyss that is the ocean. And now DPI... So you're going to see Ion having to flip his shield constantly because of the hacks that are going to come out from the side.
So a bit of a grab from Ritz. Pelican is out. Myonbong using the Transcendence, but it's already a lost fight. Karayan is out. And he had tried to go for a little spunky shot or tried to kind of bounce around Ion's shield looking for that opportunity, but did miss. So WGS using 2 ultimates there, having to reset.
WGS Armament just always going to be so difficult to deal with whenever they get EMP Grav combo. That's always going to be something GC Busan Wave has to play into very, very carefully and really utilize the line of sight here. This is a good position, actually, for them to keep their support safe and be able to get answers for the EMP.
Well, DPI, oh, the Grav is in! Free, what a play! Gargoyle, oh no! Is not how the attack was supposed to go. And DPI, as he was going to set up an EMP play, gets smashed by a Brig. So, that's 2 fails in a row. WGS are going to try this one again in a second.
Things were looking good for them to start off, and all of a sudden, it's kind of shifted back into GC Busan Wave's hands, right? I mean, favor has definitely shifted in this matchup. WGS hit a brick wall, but still, EMP at the ready. I mean, all 3 support ults realistically going to be ready in this next fight as well, and might be able to get something done here.
Speaking of a grab self-destruct, DPS panics, tries to use the EMP, but at least the support ultimates, both Transcendences got out. Mondo also did just use the barrier. GC Busan Wave holding on to Daydreams for the moment as WGS start to swing the fight in their favor as Karai continues to swing away any reinforcements coming in. And it was that brick wall you're talking about, and WGS broke through.
Finally, yeah. I mean, they brought a hammer to that one, but they're going to have to basically re-engage that a little bit because Gargoyle, he's got another grab, and they should be able to break through this. GC Busan Wave don't have the Transcendence to deal with it, and they also have, I mean, WGS also has a Transcendence of their own.
Yeah, Gargoyle's grab needs to slap here, but they didn't kill Daydream fast enough. He got the barrier off, but at least Myonbong keeping the offense alive with the Transcendence. They're up by a bunch. Now can they finish it off? And they also need to cap this before Ritz gets back. He's gonna have grab and freeze out of mech. It's a nice stall from GC Busan Wave, and only about 30 seconds what a time bank they're gonna end up with, and unfortunately Ritz wasn't able to get back. See if he can stall that one out more, but that was still a struggle bus of a time for WGS.
And I'm sure everybody watching this right now is sitting here saying, where was this? Where has WGS been? Finally, they have arrived to the match, and unfortunately, it's too late for the series, but maybe they can get a map win here. Maybe help out their differential just a little bit. I mean, obviously, they're already going to 2-2, but you can see them playing very, very effectively now, even towards the end where they kind of stuttered a little bit at the end, but isolation onto Ion. This is really, really cohesive play that we're getting out of WGS now here on Rialto.
They've been setting up their grabs a lot more effectively, and Myonbong being a little bit more patient with this Transcendence, not just immediately using it after GC Busan Wave used their barrier. So getting that later fight healing advantage, I think allowed them to solidify that, and especially killing Ritz, who was so close to grab, I think was another deal sealer for them. Absolutely.
We'll see GC Busan Wave bringing out Free for their attack, likely on the Sombra. I would think that would be the case, whereas WGS Armament are going to put DPI back onto the Diva. And 35 seconds is the overall time that WGS Armament was able to get. And we'll have to see what kind of defense they could get here because, you know, they played really well, especially when they were utilizing, you know, the DPS play from DPI. We saw the Hanzo initially. We can't forget that. And then, you know, also playing into the Sombra, really good stuff here. But this is interesting.
I didn't even know you could get up there. So I'm learning things every day, and that looks like a lot more fun than most of my games. So GC Busan Wave coming out the doors without the Diva, like you said, the Sombra, and it'll be up to Free to do a little bit of scouting, and WGS holding this top right high ground.
Now we'll see Free try to rotate, get into position before GC Busan Wave really want to instigate any of these fights. And ideally, if they can, allow Free to get into a position where he can actually put some pressure out onto DPI, turn that defense matrix around, and maybe even turn turn Myonbong on the Zenyatta as well.
And what an aggressive defense that WGS are playing. They're seeing if they can have their Brig or even Mondu go for maybe those Reddit boot plays, getting the offense off on the bridge, and realizing they couldn't do that. They do disengage, so wasting some time.
Yeah, I mean, time is key here. Absolutely key, because they already have a good time secured themselves. Now you just want to hold this cart for as long as possible and try to build into some opportunities that might get away or get you out of the EMP. Free's going to be very close to that soon. Mondu, Myonbong, maybe not close enough yet.
He gets past the Reinhardt and then stuns his entire backline. Ion disengages. He is low, but thankfully they survive for the moment. Forced to use the barrier here from Daydream and the EMP on top of it. WGS have to take a step back here, see if they can survive for the moment. They did have Myonbong keep them alive with the Transcendence, and now catching Karayan away from the rest of the team. The grab thrown from Gargoyle. It's still not a winnable fight for either team, so WGS GC Busan want to be really careful here. And another grab thrown after that.
Yeah, I mean, if Mondu was closer to the barrier there, WGS actually wins that fight, and Ion going forward just to secure it.
That's a little much. I want to say that was already an overinvestment of the grab from Riz. I was going to leave it alone, but then you shattered them when they're running away. I don't like it. I see.
Well, now they have to desperately get to the payload just to contest it, and they don't have anything available to them to actually push WGS off.
Oh, Ion got stunned. He's dealt with. WGS had used the barrier to engage now. 5 versus 5, actually. Both Reinhardt's out, and WGS just stalling the payload as much as they can. EMP drop there from Free. WGS in a tough spot. They're still trading, though, back and forth. And this is not exactly winnable for GC Busan, but WGS are just stalling for time, and they've warded them off.
Yeah, they also have the Transcendence in their back pocket as well. A minute 30 on the clock now here. And WGS seemed armed and ready to take on GC Busan in this next fight here. I mean, they have the Transcendence. They have, 4 of their other ultimates coming out. Graviton being one of the big ones there. But I'm definitely looking at seeing this combo out from WGS, who, I mean, they might not even need, because Fielder, I don't think, will have the Transcendence to answer with.
Could be Grav versus Grav, and it's actually Gargoyle pulls the trigger first. They try and feed into it. It's a counter grab from Ritz. He dies immediately after. A support ultimate's used from both sides. Transcendence versus Barrier. Self-destruct over the top from DPI. Clears the area for the moment. GC Busan Wave see if they can sneak this one in. And now an engagement. Transcendence from Fielder as WGS. They're fine with that. They'll just let that payload go home. They might engage one last time, but might not be able to get there. Somehow they're still contesting. And what a huge time waster this is for WGS, who get this down to the last 30 seconds.
Not even just the time waste as well. On top of that, you also have the EMP investment. So Ultimate's forced to be, kind of wasted as well. I mean, not wasted. They got the point because of it, but it's pulled out in a position where they realistically didn't want to utilize it. Now Free, he's going to be swapping over to the Diva to match WGS Armament here, but so far a very solid defense from a team that has been getting kind of crushed so far in this series.
It's been quite a turnaround from WGS. They definitely need this map win, and you sometimes think after you're down 3 maps, you're kind of a little bit crushed of what's going on, but dropping down from the high grounds, WGS Shatter. You got to grab. Gargoyle's going to throw it out first. Self-destruct. Oh, okay, kind of debated me. He didn't actually have it. He just flew up like he had one, but WGS now only have 4 people alive. You see their brig is separated. Pelican won't live much longer as WGS now holding this defense with everything they can, actually rotate it around, and GC Busan have both support ultimates. They want to keep it for the last fight of point B ideally, but if they're not careful, WGS can just sneak this away.
We can see them contesting the payload for literally ever at this point, and there's the Earthshatter from Karayan again.
Oh, Free! He just ate another grab. What an MVP. That is insane plays from him. WGS just takes them so long to get any sort of objective presence, objective pressure. WGS finally taking a step back after they've lost their main shield, and they've lost their Lucio, so not being able to disengage as quicker. GC Busan chasing after it, and we'll get that point B.
Yeah, great job to, kind of create some space in that fight. I mean, that was a really extended fight from WGS and GC Busan, but in the meantime, GC Busan just kind of clearing the payload, just enough to push it forward. Now, 2:35, WGS Armament looking to get onto the point, contest it early as they always do.
Rally engage from GC Busan. They throw out Ritz's grab. Self-destruct response from DPI and Free at the same time. Catches Gargle. That's a great start here for the offense. They still have to push the car. They're keeping 2 bodies on it. They know Karayan's shield is low. He tries to charge out. He's so low, and they manage to actually not finish off that kill. They get back to the spawn room, and now WGS will be able to re-engage a lot quicker.
You have to wonder how WGS is even going to be able to contest this payload effectively. I mean, GC Busan have the Transcendence, they have the Shatter. They have also Ritz's grab coming up.
It's going to be the Shatter that opens up any opportunity for either team. At minute 50, GC Busan will have another fight. What a Shatter from Ion gets everyone down from WGS. No support ultimates, and a grab from Ritz thrown up on top. Now just have to push the cart meters away. WGS have so many ultimates. Can they even get out of respawn fast enough? The case will be no. GC Busan Wave will finish the map.
Just a little bit too late on those ultimates coming up and being in a position where you could actually pull them out, but we'll see the time go up, of course. Yeah, I mean, we'll see the time go up because, they have to match up to a minute, but a minute 58 afforded to GC Busan Wave
Shatter. Now. He got like booped up, and somehow it got through, and you got Gargoyle who's trying to run away with the grab. This was great plays. Again, it was up to who was going to pull the trigger first with that Shatter, and it ended up being the offensive team.
So we have WGS now attacking first. Last time around, we saw DPI coming out with the Hanzo. We'll have to see if he does want to decide to do that yet again, but GC Busan Wave should be prepared this time around. So it's all about trying to get the answer early. And of course, the way that they found the answer the last time around was putting free on the Diva. They're going to come right out of the gates with that from the start. I think this is smart from them to pull this one out. So, you know, should something come out from WGS Armament like the Hanzo, they can easily answer that and they don't have to make any adaptations later on.
Yeah, you definitely need maybe your third support or maybe a third tank. Mondu, are you gonna do it? He's definitely just doing some scouting, noticing that free is on the Diva and not on a Sombra. So hey, that's a pretty clear indication that you don't want to play a Hanzo or any snipers into a Diva. That will just matrix all of that.
Yeah, especially when you have all those barriers out there preventing some of that damage anyways. The defense matrix is just kind of the icing on the cake, as it were. But GC Busan Wave now playing up close. They know that there's not a big time bank here for WGS at all.
You see WGS coming in from all angles, taking the high ground, getting some extra damage beyond the shields. Ritz is low. GC Busan Wave have to be careful, but the offense did lose their main shield. Karai got caught out, and they did also lose their Lucio, so that's a hard reset for WGS.
And that's half of the time bank gone as well. WGS have to get into this next fight, and they don't really have a lot of options here. They have to push this cart and come around into that, you know, second corner where GC Busan Wave are going to have a defender's advantage there.
Maybe Ion getting the shatter pretty soon. I mean, they're just wasting time. That's all they have to do. Transcendence now to engage here from the defense. They start to roll over WGS. A shatter into the backline. Ion obliterating it, taking care of Gargoyle. First on the list. WGS just could not advance this payload. We thought this was going to be the map that WGS turned things around, but ending the payload here is not going to be a good spot on their upcoming defense.
But they have respawn advantage, and the sound barrier came out too. They can come back to the payload. They just need kills. Otherwise, GC Busan Wave should win this in time.
Yeah, you're right. The respawn advantage, I gotta wait for that first. It is incredibly close, especially when the payload barely moved out of spawn. It looked like it was all over, but GC Busan here are ready to tango. Got a shatter, you got a grav coming up. Daydream now starts the barrier. They engage with the support ultimate, but they have to be careful because Gargoyle's about to have grav. Fielder will need to stay alive. Now the Transcendence from Myonbong keeps Gargoyle alive while he got shattered. You need him because he's gonna have the grav. Grav to grav. It's Gargoyle who dies with grav. Fritz throws out his first. And you know, I was right. I didn't jinx it. I promise you guys. GC Busan Wave will hold the payload at bay, but at least not at the beginning of spawn.
That was such a good opportunity. I mean, if Gargoyle lives there, if WGS can just stay alive for a little bit longer. They forced Fielder to use the Transcendence aggressively already, so there was nothing to be able to block Gargoyle's pressure from the grav. So they would have been able to clean that grav and actually probably cap point A behind that. So if Gargoyle lives there, they cap point A, they have an opportunity to reset with their respawn position, and they can start pushing that payload a little bit further forward, at least get it across the bridge perhaps. But unfortunately for them, Gargoyle did go down. Great pick from GC Busan Wave to be able to find that kill. That was so pivotal in that fight. Now, just under 2 minutes, but WGS Armament, I think, bit off a little bit more than we thought that they would chew by having DPI actually kind of stall that payload with the sound barrier as well from Mandu for literally ever. I mean, they probably could have stayed there forever.
Actually, and I felt like GC Busan Wave, they used a lot of their support ultimates in that last round to actually pre-engage WGS, and a lot of the time they either caught out Karayan, maybe they caught out a support, and that actually favored the defense, while as even when WGS Armament had leftover supports in the later stages of the fight, they had lost too much from the preemptive attack from GC Busan. So Yellow Box of Victory is right around the corner. Thankfully, you know, one decisive fight. Maybe WGS would want to have a fight closer to the payload to force 2 fights, but it's going to be your Rhine goats from both sides.
Yeah, you really want to stall this payload as soon as it gets across the bridge. Then you want to kind of take that fight for as long as possible and then pull back to that corner where you have defender's advantage. But you have to make sure that you're clean. You don't want to lose too many bodies. If you give away that second corner, it's very difficult to hold this out.
Yeah, WGS actually collapsed as GC Busan are separated in half in front and behind the payload. And a first pick here from Ion, make it a second. No main shield here for WGS Armament. And again, this is a big time waster. It's totally fine. Ion's going to keep swinging away and the payload's going to advance. WGS need to keep Gargoyle alive. They need one last engage.
And this is the one shot they have. Karayan, he did die out pretty early, but he got a lot of damage out initially, and he already does have his Earth Shatter, so they're going to look for the opportunity to put him into a position where he can find value with it. He gets them!
He just baited Pelican and shattered everyone who went after his lone brig. An absolute unit protecting everybody. GC Busan Wave, yes, they die, and they die violently, but they still have 50 seconds to push this cart.
And maybe, just maybe, they can hold here. It didn't seem like it was possible, but somehow Karayan came through with the Earth Shatter in like 3 swings. Got it, the job done, but now we'll see a lot of things coming up for WGS, and they can now hold this doorway. High ground going to be taken by GC Busan Wave as they do take the drop engage. This should favor the attacking team.
Gargoyle needs to act first with this grab. You can't let Ritz get his off first. Fielder does have the trans. If Gargoyle uses his grab, they need to be careful. They need to play this smart. There's Gargoyle's grab. Counter shatter from Ion doesn't catch much. Transcendence from both sides. One last self-destruct from DPI. Catches free. That's a good start for the defense. They use the barrier. They advance on top of GC Busan Wave, who try and hold their ground. Karayan's gonna have a shatter. He could catch this off guard. He's getting booped around. Can he start this off? He might have not caught much with that, but it's not over yet. GC Busan Wave meters away. Closer respawns. WGS just trying to burn time for the reinforcements to get back. Karayan's under fire, and he's dealt with. GC Busan Wave now get grabbed from Gargoyle before he heads to the spawn room. GC Busan Wave, they survive. Nice Myeonbong Transcendence to stall. Now reinforcements back from WGS, but it's just not the number advantage they were looking for. GC Busan Wave meters away from securing the 4-0 victory over WGS, the reverse historical quarterfinals upset we saw in Season 3. And WGS, they're trying to stall with everything they can, but there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. GC Busan Wave with the 4-0 victory.
They somehow complete the task, but WGS really made them fight for it. Excellent heroic plays out of the gates from Karayan there as well. Solid stuff. We saw him come through. I mean, a hope and a prayer is all they really had alongside that Earth Shatter, and somehow it seemed like there was a possibility that they would make that stop, but unfortunately just not enough.
And that will be GC Busan Wave's first win this Contender season, now 1-3. And with that 4-0 climbing to a 9-9, definitely helping out their map differential because their other losses were game 5s. And WGS Armament now going to be 2-2 in an 8-8 map differential. This was just still an incredible series, 4-0s across the board, but you can tell how much these teams are fighting every map. Map 4, down maps, it doesn't matter. They try their best.
Yeah, and you could probably consider both of these matches as well kind of like upsets, right? I mean, O2 Blast, Gen G, a lot of people going into that matchup expected O2 Blast to be out ahead, given, you know, how these teams have competed against others and the performance and kind of the strengths and weaknesses. And then you go into this match, an 0-3 team taking down WGS Armament, who played, very well already throughout this season.
It's incredible. Week 4, and just the standings are turning around left, right, and center. An 0-3 team beat a 2-1 team. So we take a look at the standings. Runaway still on top, of course, but at least with that win, GC Busan Wave will climb back a bit.
And look at this too. I mean, Gen G Esports is sitting at 2nd now.